of Ugandans, that Ugandans have disappeared here and there. Uganda under NRM cannot have that type of situation. The UPDF now, the NRA before it, the security forces we built afterwards, like the intelligence services and the police, all are taught not to be part of such a culture of violating people's rights with impunity. Where anything like that happens, action will be taken. The NRA UPDF is a very disciplined force. That's why when we took over Kampala, even people who were working for the previous governments, they didn't run away because they were not afraid. When I asked some of them why they had not run away, they told me that they had heard that NRA does not kill people. Information had already gone ahead that the NRA does not kill people. There was no looting. When we took over Kampala, not a single shop was looted. No refugees. Uganda is one of the few countries in the world without refugees outside. We welcome refugees here, but we don't generate refugees because nobody is afraid to live here, even when he is not agreeing with us. The respect of property. Uganda House, the UPC house, was never touched by the NRM when we came in. Although we had been fighting UPC, but we never touched their property when we came into the town. In fact, some people wanted to take over that Uganda House, saying that it had been built with government money, which was true, but we said no. Okay, Amin came and spent the government money to build Uganda House, but it was on the foundation which UPC had already started. So we just protected their property. That is the UPDF, that is the NRA you are talking about. Therefore, please don't mix us up with all that low caliber type of conduct. On account of our management of the security situation in the country, after 2003, we had total peace in the country. There was no more any trouble. I think the last incursion of ADF was in 2007, just before Chogam. That's when they were defeated completely in Semliki National Park. However, in 2018, some shallow people thought they could use crime to derail our progress. They started killing sheikhs. You must remember the sheikhs who were killed, quite a number of them, Muslim sheikhs. The killing of Kawesi, the former Inspector General of Police, Deputy Inspector General of Police, killing of Kagezi, the prosecutor, of Chigundu, of Abiriga, the killing of women in Nansana, the killing of women in Entebbe, the killing of women in Zana, and the leaflets which were threatening people, saying how they will be attacked with Vijambia. Killing of Chirumira, the other policeman. Now, attacking factories. Now, the aim of that campaign was to scare away investments. I think some people are worried about Uganda's rate of progress. And they were thinking that if they do that, it would scare away investments. This was assisted by the infiltration by criminals that had taken place in the police, because the police had been infiltrated by criminals. Now you remember, I addressed Parliament on the 20th of June, 2018. During that address, I laid out, I think there were 12 points of actions that would defeat the crime wave of that time. Some of the measures included the acquiring and the deployment of cameras, which now has been implemented. And you see how much they have helped. It was during that time that I involved CMI in investigating the killings of the women, especially starting with Entebbe and then Zana and so on. That was the first time to involve soldiers in what should otherwise be just police work. We had to do it because police was having challenges. And indeed, the combined measures defeated that crime wave. The country became safe again. Now, toward the elections, we had now new schemes of criminality. First of all, the culture of rioting. If there is anything, riots. And how do they riot? Attack buildings, attack security personnel, if you can show us that piece where people were attacking a policewoman. I don't know whether you still have it. Put it back clearly. Let's see it properly. Now you can see that red-shirted man attacking that Kasumoro girl, that's Kasumoro policewoman. You can see it. See what was happening there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The undressing women. Show us those who are undressing women in Kampala that they are wearing NRM uniform. Don't have that? No. What happened? You had it. Okay, now you show us the destroying of cars, destroyed cars. Where are the destroyed cars?
babiteekawo nga bikiro kitwala omunaku poliisi n'ebisangawo n'ebikwatira okunoonyereza ne kugenda maaso ne bakwata balina gwe bazuula kakati olunaku lwe bakwata Bobi Wine wali wakula ennaku nga wakaita ennaku nga 3 ne bawandiika kiro kitwala omunaku ne bagamba nti gwe Henry Sali mu Katuliki RDC DPC Swaibu tugenda kubatta singa ennaku 2 ziwe ziyitawo nga Bobi Wine bamutaddemu mutusibyeko mu 7 tukooye naye bwe ziwerera kubinga tabandata Bobi Wine tugenda kubatta ekyomukisa omulungi Bobi Wine ko le bamukwata ne bamutako ne tuwona okufa ninga ebiwandiiko ku poliisi gyebiri kakati ennaku z'omwezi nga 14 waliwo omuvubuka akola ku radio Gomba Peter yagenda ku radio Gomba radio ye manager wa radio n'ayogera ati gwe Henry ne Brigadier Flavia byekwaso mwe muteeseewo ekitta abantu nga mukwata abantu mu drone ne mubatwale watamanyise mawulire ne recordings tuzina n'agamba naye enensi mujja gisasulira Kabubeddi n'akyogera ku saa 11 n'akiddamu kwemu n'amaliriza ku 3 ku ssaawa 7 motoka yange ne bajoocha akati nsobola okuba twali mu campaign biseera ebyo nkomawo nga nkooye mala okunaaba nyambuka waggulu okwebaka ndaba TV amawulire ganema okulaba olw'okuba nalina otulo amasanyalaze ne gagenda ngenda okuzuukuka nga ndaba enzikiza nyingi naye nga wabweru omuliro gugira guti engeri gyesulaawo waggulu kwe kulingiza mu ddirisa motoka yange nali ngisuzizaawo nagenda okulaba motoka yange eyaka neesirika eddirisa nenkuba enduulu naye nga ntya okufuluma kakati namulirwana wange abamuyita Katumba awulira nkuba enduulu waggulawo nze ndi wali waggulu mulaba asula kwegwa omuzigo ne mugamba Katumba tofuluma emmotoka yaffe bagyokyeza bwokya naye abookyezza emmotoka bayinza okuba bakyaliwo Katumba zaawo omulyango nziramu nkuba enduulu nenkubira poliisi essimu poliisi yali tennajja nenzamu nenkubira Brigadier Flavia byekwaso omwogezi w'amagye kubanga neiba waffe wali ne mugamba nyamba banumbye nesima ekidako emmotoka yabe bagyokyeza Brigadier Flavia nampereza amagye bwe gajja nga wayisaddaka nga 10 emmotoka yeeyaka bwe gatuuka awo netulyoka tufuluma abweru ne banneiba bange baali bamaze okuvaayo ne Katumba kwe kufuluma twalemerwa okuzikiza mmotoka kuba mmotoka yali eyaka era akadomola ka petroli bakasuula awo mmotoka netugitunuulira poliisi we yajjira nga terina bwesobola kuzikiza mmotoka naye twetaaga obukuumi tutiisatiisibwa tetulina ngeri gye tuyambibwamu kakati ffe tubeeraawo nga tulinga abatawagira gavumenti eri mu buyinza kyekinnuma nolwekyo njagala kukubira pulezidenti omulanga atuyambe olwa abantu abavuddeyo ne bamufiirira kyekiseera okutandika okutunula okuteeka security mu bantu be wadde tasobola giteekawo wonna naye nze neewuunya bukya bino binguwako sirabanga na muntu n'omu.
So that was now the destruction of a vehicle of Henry Sali from Kanoni, Gomba, whose car was burnt in the night of the 16th of February. Then there's Jimmy Kaluna from Namasao, Jaramba, Buama. That one.
Nababitematema byonna n'emmere yange ebitooke batema ebitooke yika era essaawa eno nsaba Pulezidenti Museveni atunule mu nsonga zaffe nti abavubuka balina effujjo era batuyisa bubi ffe abawagira Pulezidenti Museveni era nali omu kubakuuma akalulu ke era ebbaluwa nzirina ezakuuma akalulu ka Pulezidenti Museveni era ebintu byange byonna babitema mwanyi zange ebitooke byange vanira wange ne gwe mbadde ngenda okungula mu gw'omukaaga yonna bamutematema abantu abo baŋŋamba ebigambo ebyo tutuleka okutuusaako obuvune mbamanyi era tuli mu kkooti abamu nabakwata ababiri ne babeeyimirira kati abamu mbamanyi era bakomyewo tugenda mu kkooti.
So now that one was destroying of crops. There's another one, Sebwato, John Bosco, of again Jaramba. Show him to us. Do you have that piece? Huh? Okay. So now, because of that misbehavior and plans to stop the elections, because these lawbreakers were planning openly that they will not allow the elections to take place. The security forces decided to deploy heavily just before the elections. And in the case of Kampala, we also brought a commando unit which had distinguished itself in fighting in Somalia and which had destroyed ADF. We deployed it. It was deployed in the Kampala area. And this group quickly defeated the terrorists who had started operating here. They killed a few who tried to attack them and arrested scores of those lawbreakers in Makerere Kivuru, in Nachivo Channel, some from Pigi, some from Chotera, some from Mukono. During my address of the 29th of November 2020 in Mbale, I gave the details of some of those happenings. Therefore, the lawbreakers and the criminals are the ones who forced us to deploy the army, some elements of the army, not many elements, but some elements of the army, to support the police. And now, when they were deployed, they, like for instance, the CMI, arrested 2 types of people. The ones who were arrested by CMI were in 2 categories. One category is 177 suspects, and these were granted bail by court or were released. Then another category are 65 who are still being investigated. Now, all these, their names are here. I have all their names. Senyonjo Adam, Kasozu Waswa, Ruetute, Dennis, Kiseka Bone, they are all here. They are all here. Both the 177 and the 65. They are all here. And the security people should make this information available to the public, so that this talk of disappearance is is answered. Then the ones arrested by the commandos were two groups. There were 59 from 18 from Kampala, 11 from PG, 17 from Chotera, and 5 from Nakasongola. All those, their names are here. They are all here. Aineviona Junior, Mpaji Yasin, Nwabine Daudi, Okware Gerald, Ayabare David, Sonko Richard, Matovo Deans, they are all here. Then the ones, these 59, are separate from the 17 who had been arrested from Mukono. The ones from Mukono were all released. Kamera Agustin, Nahiru Muhammad, Chargonza Adolf, Nkoyo Joseph, Mukasa Juma, Chiveru Julius, Muganga Karim, Kaiza Samuel, Mare Musa, Sinkubuge Ishma, Chiwanuka Suleiman, Ntulume Stephen, Waswa Jesse, Kanywa Kabenge Fred, Tunama Tsuko Onesimus, Son Hilary, Kawasanda Lawrence. Those were released, and those were from Mukono. So the 59, many of the 59 are helping the police to trace the others. So therefore, the talk of disappearance should be should be ignored, because it can't happen under the NRM. Even if a mistake is made, it will be addressed and it will be answered. We never cover up. We never. There's nothing in which you cannot. There's nothing in which you do and hide. So that is the point I wanted to mention tonight, because I was hearing that in the papers there's quite a bit of stampede about that issue of disappearance. Every Ugandan under NRM will be accounted for. Now, the second point I wanted to mention this evening is that in this Kisanja, we are going to lay emphasis on socio-economic transformation. This phenomenon of abakorere chida kyonka, people work only for the stomach, teach may each keken, must end. Many of the problems are from that phenomenon. During the campaigns, I pointed out that Operation Wealth Creation had given materials to 900,000 people. If you assume that each person was representing one homestead, that means Operation Wealth Creation has touched 900,000 households. But the households in Uganda are 9 million. So if you have tackled only less than 1 million, that means you have got another 8 million to tackle. Therefore, in this Kisanja, I've already instructed the government to prepare a budget to make sure that in each year we tackle 3 million families to get them from working only for the stomach to working for the stomach and the pocket. If you tackle 3 million, by the end of 5 years, you would have covered all the families and come back a second round to give additional support. This is because I want us to eliminate this phenomenon of working only for the stomach, because it is the source of poverty, source of low rate of job creation. For instance, there is our man Nyakana of Rwengaju village in Kabarore district. That man and the whole of Rwengaju parish had no income. But when they listened to my advice and they started the 1 acre model, the man is now getting more than 200 million shillings a year from eggs, selling about 60 trays per day, and then selling 80 liters of milk. So he's not only earning money, but he has created actually 7 jobs, including himself. So therefore, socio-economic transformation is very crucial, and it is at the core of all problems, or at the core of all successes. Now, I will give more details on this later, not tonight, but this is our main emphasis in this Kisanja, to make sure that people get out of the traditional way, they start living a modern life. Now, finally, I just want to comment on excitement also caused by some of the foreigners, and here I emphasize the word some, because it's not really all the foreigners who are trying to interfere in our internal affairs. It is only some people. Now I want to tell the Ugandans our experience with the involvement of foreigners in our internal affairs. We have got so many examples. Unfortunately, many of them are tragic. But I'll have to quote one. When Idi Amin made his coup in 1971, immediately some foreign governments supported him. They said he was wonderful, although he's not educated, but he's quite a nice chap. But for us, straight away, he announced his coup by about 3 p.m. on the 25th of January, 1971. By 5 p.m. we were meeting at Kanyomo's house in Bugorovi, and we decided to fight Idi Amin. Me away because I'm having my cup of tea, you man. My cup of tea is not a problem. These theater goers, that my cup of tea is. So by 5 o'clock, we had met at Kanyomo's house and decided to fight Idi Amin. Why? First of all, we could see that Idi Amin could not understand our Pan-Africanist aims. At that time, we were busy fighting the colonialists in Mozambique, in Angola, in Zimbabwe, in Namibia, in South Africa, in Guinea-Bissau. Now, this man comes just that he wants power. Power, we need this power to solve our problems of Africa, not just to occupy positions. Now, some of the foreigners supported Idi Amin. We opposed him. Apart from the ideological differences, Idi Amin, of course, also killed a lot of people. Now, by 1972, the foreigners who had backed Idi Amin were now with us. They had seen that Idi Amin was a terrible fellow. Now the question is, what would have happened if we had listened to the foreigners? We would have made a mistake. But because for us, we do what we know to be right, regardless of what other people think, we were able to not to lose time in terms of fighting Idi Amin. There are many other examples. So therefore, when you hear external people, some of the external people interfering in our affairs, ignore them. But don't listen to what they are saying. Don't be influenced by what they are saying, because they can lead to a lot of distortions. If we had not stood our ground, Uganda would have been in a very bad situation. Even in 1981, when we went to the Bush second round, some of the outsiders, again, didn't like it. They didn't like it. But also lack of seriousness, because you see, I saw, like in the papers, they were talking of the European Union Parliament passing a recommendation that some officials should not travel to UK, to Europe, to European Union. Well, I normally need a lot of persuasion to leave Uganda, to travel anywhere. So why anybody would think that Africans are dying to go to Europe and so on is something really that shows some lack of seriousness. Because if you don't want us to, for me, I find a lot of difficulty living in Uganda, and I regard it as a big sacrifice. And I do it because of friendship Otherwise, here in Uganda, I don't have to go anywhere. So therefore, Ugandans, I think you concentrate on your work. We know what we are doing. We are moving very well. Those who don't understand us will understand us in time, so that we change the structure of our society. Uganda should have a society which is modern, a middle class, a skilled working class society. That's what we are aiming at. I thank you and I wish you good luck.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go.